So a lot of you golfers out there believe there is no way you could play an iron like the P7CB or like the P770, thinking that there is nowhere near enough forgiveness in these heads for a mid to high handicap golfer. Now, is that actually true, or is that just marketing BS? Today, we're going to find out, because I'm putting those three heads up against each other on GC Quad. We've got the new P7CB, the new P770, and the existing P790 looking to the millimeter in terms of a good data set. How do they compare in terms of the ball flight, distance when we hit them decent? But then how much drop off do we see versus a good one when I hit the crap out of these? At the heel, at the toe, looking to the millimeter on GC Quad. Is the drop off really going to be that much difference between these three heads? Let's find out. First up, we're going to be jumping into the P790, the good old P790. I think everyone knows someone who's got a set of these irons, and they're great irons. Players distance, reasonably strong in loft, gonna go far, hollow body construction, pretty forgiving. So what I'm gonna do first of all is get a good data set with each of these heads. I'm gonna hit about 15 shots at an 80-mile-an-hour swing speed, and then we're gonna compare to see the performance of these heads, how they stack up on a good data set. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit the crap out of these heads to see how badly the drop-off is going to be. So yeah, P790, the shaft will remain the same throughout this test, which is a dynamic gold 105 S300. That'll be the same in all. I'll be playing them all 2 degrees flat. So let's get some of the 790. Tell you what, it was a little bit thin, but absolutely don't mind that result. I mean, ones like that I'll probably just leave in because it was a little bit bottom groove. Wasn't out the middle, but the efficiency was still good, the ball flight was still good, and the distance was still good. So I think we'll leave that one in. That's pretty good. Now, I'm not going to dive too much into the tech of this head. We might take a little look at the 770 and CB because they're new. I've done videos on this already. You know, we know it's hollow body. We know we've got the speed slot. We know we've got flighted CG. We know we've got the speed frame from Taylormade. We know all that. You know, everyone's very familiar with the 790. So we won't dive too much into the tech on this one, but I will be diving into kind of look, sound, and feel a little bit later on. I think that was a bit better strike. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, slightly more middled. 19 launch, 5.2 backspin. Obviously, we're going to be comparing the ball flights and the launch and the spin and all that jazz of these clubs. One of the biggest differences, despite all the marketing, which we'll touch on later, is the loft. Obviously, this 7 iron, 30.5 degrees. This is the strongest lofted iron out of the bunch. So really, it's a bit of a catch-22 when people are looking at a player's distance iron thinking, oh, they're going to go further. Please do bear in mind your swing speed when you're thinking about this, because if you go strong in loft and you've got a slower swing speed, and you're someone who might actually take off a little bit of loft through impact as well, all three of those factors will be going against you with this iron, and you could potentially lose distance. So again, please don't just bar off the rack, always obviously go get fitted. That was really nice. Good line too. Stay right. Ooh. Yeah, that's the best one I've struck so far as well, and I was bang on 80-mile-an-hour swing speed as well, which is great. So 80-mile-an-hour, 138 efficiency, so super, super efficient. 18.5 launch, 5.1 backspin, that carry, 156 carry, also pretty solid. 82 feet in the air, 43.9 descent, getting a little bit on the lower side, like I said earlier. With lack of speed sometimes creates a lack of height, which you don't want with irons. That's going to really it's not going to help from a stopping perspective. You want that land angle to be quite steep to give us stopping power and control coming into the greens. If it gets too much that way, it's just not going to stop the ball. Jumping into the brand new P770, and I must say straight off the back from kind of a cosmetic perspective, I think this is one of the best looking 770s that Taylormade have done. I mean, I remember seeing the photos when they first come out and you're a bit like, not too sure about this iron, but actually in person, the same as everything else. Photos don't do it justice. It really does look stunning. The finish is awesome. It's just clean and it's just sleek. It will just one of those irons that look great in the bag. So one thing that they're saying this year with the 770 is kind of refined shaping and more of a player's profile and player's look. That's one thing with older models with the 770, the top line didn't really look that much different to the 790. So we've got the 790 here. So have a quick look down by the ball against each other. And yeah, that is noticeably a lot smaller, like a lot smaller. Heel to toe, definitely smaller. Like face, I'll just line up the kind of grooves on the face. Heel to toe, definitely smaller. Top line, definitely smaller. The toe looks smaller. It looks less stubby, less chunky. Much, much better look down by the ball. So for that player who still wants a bit of that tech and a bit of that help, which we'll touch on in a minute, but still looks unbelievable in the bag, looks unbelievable down by the ball, this could be a fantastic option. That was so thin. I mean, I'll leave that one in there for you guys to see, because that was just out and out bottom groove, like really not good at all. Didn't feel good, but I mean, dead straight down the line at 147 carry, pretty good. That felt really good. That was really nice. Go on. Go on. Oh. Sure, it definitely feels more solid than the 790. The 790's just got a little bit of like a click to it. It feels a bit hollow body, it feels a bit punchy. Whereas this is not majorly dissimilar from a design perspective, but it definitely does give off that duller sound, that duller feel, and a little bit more of like a forged iron feel. And the numbers on that one: 19 launch, 5.4 backspin, 81 peak height, 44 descent. Again, it's going to be interesting to see these average numbers to see how this actually really stacks up against the 790. Obviously, as we touched on loft, the loft of the 790 is 30.5, this is 33. So it definitely has more loft, so we'd expect to see a little bit more launch, a little bit more spin, and possibly a little bit less distance, but will we see that? Again, pretty good. Maybe a fraction out the toe. But yeah, solid result. To be honest, from hitting, I don't know how many I've hit with this now, probably 15, something like that. I've actually been very impressed with, I've hit quite a few bad ones, not swinging at my normal swing speed. I do get quite a lot of miss hits. Well, I get a lot anyway, but even more at this swing speed. I hit a few thin, few toey. None are like dropping that short of the green. Like none have gone in the water. They're all doing very well. But we'll do the proper Forgiveness comparison later. Tech-wise, I think they do a great job with this because they kind of try and pack a lot of the tech from the 790 into a smaller, sleeker, better looking, more players looking profile. So, you know, we've still got the through slot speed pocket. They've still got flighted CG in here. So it's still kind of a hollow body construction, really two pieces. You know, you've got the body and you've got the face, and you've got all the tech going on inside with the tungsten. So that's moving out into the toe, up and down to create that flighted CG. So really it's kind of like a sleek, tech-packed, more traditional looking iron, which is brilliant. That was a pretty good strike. Yeah, nice. Yeah, it might have been a couple of mil low, but it was one of the more centered ones today, to be fair. And again, good numbers, good ball flight, good efficiency. 150 carry for someone swinging around 8 mile an hour is pretty damn solid. Peak and descent were better on that one. It's nice. So into the brand new P7CB, a super sexy traditional cavity back iron. So this is a one-piece forged, but they do have a little bit of magic and a little bit of trickery going on that we'll touch on later. But love the kind of satin finish, love the Taylormade bug logo down there. Down by the ball, again, it just looks like a player's iron. It really does. I mean, if I grab the 770 quickly, we have a little comparison of those. Heel to toe, I'll tell you what, to be honest, that's barely noticeable. That is absolutely, yeah, I don't really think there's anything in it heel to toe, not that I can tell. Even top line, I mean, the CB you might be talking is fractionally smaller, but if I gave you those back to back and not told you which one it was, I don't think you'd really know the difference. Which is a good thing, because I think these could blend very well. One thing that they have done this year is they've actually made this iron a bit stronger in loft. The MC was 34, this 7 iron is now 33. So they're getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger as the days go on, which I don't particularly know if I agree with, to be honest, especially in a player's iron. But that does mean that generally they'll blend very well with the 770s. That felt solid. Yeah, it was a really good strike. 153 carry. I mean, it will be very interesting. Yeah, really good strike. 18.5 launch, 58 backspin. It will be really interesting to see just how these do compare on a good strike. Again, especially considering the 770 and this is now the same loft. How much difference are we really going to see? And I'm super interested to get some bad miss hits with these things. Again, it was a good strike. definitely finding the middle a little bit more with this thing, which, again, I tend to find this happens quite a lot in fittings where the strike will move depending on the iron that I give, even if the shaft stays the same. I think this little bad boy has got a hell of a lot to do with where the strike shifts in terms of, well, the head designs are different. The mass in the CG locations is different. So that, to a lot of players, they are going to react to that and the strike will move about a bit. Oh, wow, that was so bad. Is it going to carry the water? Oh, it did. And I mean, that was mega low toe. So again, I'll probably delete that one. Yeah, that was a shockingly bad strike, that. Again, 147 carry. Yeah, I mean, is that bang on 80 swing speed there? It was probably a fraction low in the head, mate. Yeah, it was a little bit low in the head. You see 148 carry. I think it's going to be very tight between this and the 770. That was nice. Go on. Yeah, that's probably the best one I hit with that so far. Right, let's compare the data on the good shots. Quick look at the club delivery data just to show you how I delivered the clubs to try and be as fair as I possibly can be. Just to get a fair comparison, swing speed was 80, 80.8, 80.5, so within less than 1 mile an hour all the way through. Other big things will be path and angle of attack. So angle of attack, 4 down, 4.5 down, very close. Path, 5 into out, 5.3, 4 into out, so all pretty from the inside. Even the face, it's not identical, but you know, it's within a couple of degrees, so it's pretty good on average. And strike, very important. It's the average strike there, super, super comparable. They're all literally within a couple of millimeters. So really, from a club delivery perspective, it's going to be a very fair comparison of how these heads compare. So the ball flight data, the performance numbers, will jump straight to the one that everyone cares about, distance. We can see the 770 and CB identical, as I thought they probably would be. Same loft and really even design. They're not a million miles apart. Loft always been the #1 thing when it comes to distance. If you've got two irons at a similar loft, chances are they're pretty much going to go the same distance. And then the 790 is that 4 yards longer carry, which you might imagine that there should be a bit more difference between these heads than that. As you saw, the delivery were basically the same, the swing speed was basically the same, the strike was basically the same. So this is a very fair comparison of these heads, and yeah, only 4 yards in it. Another really interesting point is the peak height and the angle of descent, because there's not much difference really. So the peak height, the lowest was the CB at 78 feet, then was the 790 at 79 feet, and then was the 770 at 81 feet. So again, there's only really 3 feet difference of peak height in these. And then we had the descent, lowest descent, 43.2 with the 790, and 43.6 with the CB. Again, not much in it. And then 44.4 with the 770. So for this player profile, in terms of this delivery, paired with this speed, delivery is always more important than speed when it comes to what head you should fit into. And it's also a lot more important than handicap. I don't fit by handicap at all. I fit by delivery, what head loft suits you best from a ball flight perspective. And for this player speed and the delivery, I'd be going 770 because the distance was great and the ball flight was better. A little bit more height, a little bit more stopping power, much, much better. So the rest of it, we get a little bit more ball speed out of the 790, which we'd expect with it being stronger in loft, but only was a couple of mile an hour and a half. 770 and CB identical, no difference in ball speed there. We do see the 770 launch and spin a little bit higher, so it's doing a good job for its loft, but then it's not loads different to the CB, is it? I mean, it's half a degree-ish, 0.7 of a degree of launch and 100-ish revs of spin. So not massively different, but it is launching and spinning a little bit more, which is great. And then the 790 obviously being the strongest in loft, the lowest launching, lowest spinning at 18 and 54. Again, compared to the CB though, I mean, it's doing a reasonable job of launching and spinning okay, isn't it? It's only 0.3 of a degree difference in launch and a few hundred revs spin difference. So yeah, it's not a million miles off, hence why the peak height and angle of descent really wasn't too different. Just getting that little bit more ball speed, which equated to a little bit more distance. But again, really looking at the head designs and the lofts, would you expect there to be more difference there? So we've seen the good ones, we see how they compare now. For the interesting part of this test is the forgiveness, because this really is why these clubs are kind of designed and marketed the way that they are to different handicaps and better and worse players being more and less forgiving. Now, is that true? Now we're going to start off with the CB, and what we're going to be doing is relating it to the best shot we hit with each in terms of from a carry perspective. With the CB was 153 yards, was our best carry. So we'll see how much drop off do we get when we hit it way out the toe, way out the heel, and a bit skinny as well. And that segues nicely into us touching on the tech of this CB iron. So even though it is kind of a one-piece forged traditional cavity back style iron, there is a little bit of magic hidden in here, and that's they mill out the sole or the bottom of this club and sort of dig a lot of the carbon steel out, put a lighter MMC material in there, and then a big, dense, heavy tungsten weight out in the toe. Now, what that obviously does is spreads the mass out into the toe, spreads the CG, sorry, out into the toe, really makes it super stable across the face. So on these mishits, it should be very good as well. So let's test it. Oh my God. I think there's that 20 mil out the toe. Yeah, I think I could save that one for the forgiveness section, because that was, there we go, 21 mil out the toe. A 138 carry, I mean, it's probably like a 10-yard drop off. Oh, that's not even on the face, if I'm honest. That was horrifically bad. How far out the toe is that? 31 mil out the toe. Okay, so probably a little bit worse than I was actually trying to get, but they're all going to be comparable because we can see the data on each. So 30 mil out the toe, we got what, 121 carries. So essentially 32-yard drop off. That was a slightly better toe. Yeah, 132 carry. How far out the toe was that? 25 mil. Okay, so still very, very toey. A 131 carry. So that's what? It's about a 20-yard drop off. It's not terrible. Jumping into the 770 to test that toe against the CB. Again, exactly the same with the 770. The best carry we had with this was 153. So let's see what sort of drop off we get with this compared to the CB. Yep, that was uber toey. She's done really well. So 129 carry, I think that was. 20 mil toe. Okay, so not quite as bad as a couple that we had with the P7CB a second ago. But 128 carry, I mean, it's virtually the same. Yeah, the last one with the CB was actually fraction more toey, and we got 2 yards more carry out of it, although I did swing fractionally faster. So all these tiny little variables, but to me, I would say basically the same. Again, that's not a bad flight for that strike. I mean, it's a 26 mil toe, so that's probably closer to the first ones that we were having with the CB in terms of how toe it was. Basically the same 123 carry. And I believe they're about 120 carry with the CB. So again, relative drop off, pretty similar. Again, that's impressive. Yeah, really impressive. Again, that one there, 23 mil toe. 133 carry, so it seems around 20 mil toe. Both of them drop off kind of around 20-ish yards, just over 20 yards. 30 mil out the toe, they both get about a 30-yard drop off. So to be honest, relative drop off on bad toe strikes, I think they're the same. Back to the 790, the most forgiving iron out of this range. We'll see. Best for this was 158 carry. So let's do the same thing toe side. See how much drop off we get. It's got to be a 30 miller or very close to. Okay, 130 carry. So that 28 mil toe. Okay, all right, nice. So 28 mil toe. That's really in the sort of ballpark of where we were getting a 30-yard drop off from the CB and 770. When we get there, 129 carry. Yeah, in fairness, because the best was 158 with this. It was longer than the others because of the loft. But yeah, so we still get really a 29-yard drop off. Okay, that was like toe, but I don't think it was awful toe. Yeah, decent carry in fairness. Yeah, 22 mil toe. Okay, so closer to that 20 where we were seeing maybe more of around a 20-yard drop off with the others. Again, this is not an exact science, I'll be honest. Of course, we've got all the data to the millimeter. Just got to do the best we can. So we see a 22 mil toe shot there, and we see a 134 carry. So really, we're looking at, what's that, 24-yard drop off? Yeah, again toe, but maybe not awful toe. I think it's similar carry, pretty similar. Yeah, 16 mil toe. So one of the better toe strikes so far with the 790 and 133 carry. So yeah, we're still seeing really we're still seeing a 25-yard drop-off. So again, from what I'm seeing right now, I can't say, if anything, drop-offs may be even worse. And this, if you haven't seen a video that I did, which was game improvement versus blade, a bit of a controversial subject and topic, to be honest. My argument is always, but if you've got an iron that goes further, the drop-off's going to be worse. Depending on how bad you hit it, of course. You could top it and it goes 2 yards. But generally speaking, when you're trying to quantify strike, if you hit a good one and it jumps and it goes miles, then you hit a bit of a bad one. Really, the front to back dispersion's probably going to be worse on an iron like this than it will with a 770 or CB. Sticking in the P790, going to test out the heel. Oh, that in fairness was a semi-shank. I'm amazed that still carried 130. Yeah, that 22mm heel, that was, I think anything like 24mm heel, like, is going to be a shank. So the fact that that was 22mm heel and that still managed to carry 131, that's good. Not sure about that one. I mean, it's an unbelievable shot. 9mm heel. I mean, it did feel heely, in fairness, but so we'll leave that in. 9mm heel, that basically only lost 5-6 yards, which is nothing, but it wasn't that heel, but we'll leave it in. Oh, tell you what, that's a really good flight for that strike. I'm telling you now, that was very, very heely. You know, really, that's about as heely as you can hit it without shanking it, where we get kind of a 20-yard drop off. Solid. And then even on the semi-shank, I mean, still carried 130, so heel performance on the 790, pretty good. So the 790 impressed out of the heel. Let's jump into the 770, see how that does. Oh, that was very heely. Again, it was a solid ball flight. Yeah, 20mm heel. So that's, again, that's borderline sort of semi-shank area, that is. It's not far off, and we get 136 carry. So, I mean, compared to a good one, which is what, 153, 17-yard drop-off, it's pretty good. And that one actually, 20mm heel, 9mm low, was basically identical to one we hit previously with the 790 that was 21mm heel and 7mm low. And the carry was actually only 1 yard different. I think I did swing the 770 fractionally faster. Again, slightly different variables there. But really, I mean, the drop-off for this sort of head 770 that should be less forgiving. I mean, the relative drop-off we're seeing really is the same, maybe even fractionally better. Oh, that was, yeah, again, semi-shanky. And again, 135 carry. I mean, that's, yeah, 17mm heel, 134 carry. I mean, it's just, yeah, just as impressive out the heel. Oh. Again, that's done really well. That was pretty damn heely. Yeah, so that one there was 14mm heel, and we got an 8-yard drop off against our best. There was one with the 790 that I believe was 9mm heel, I think 9 or 11mm heel, and we got a 6-yard drop off. So again, that was slightly more heely, and we got a couple yards more drop off, but really relative. I mean, the drop off, can't say there's much in it. So full circle back to the CB to test the heel. That will be, I don't think that was too dissimilar to the one I just hit with the 770. It's done remarkably well, hasn't it? Because 8mm heel. So again, we had one, I think it was 9mm heel with the 790 earlier that dropped off about 6 yards, and that actually only dropped off 3 yards. Yeah, that was like semi-Shanksville. Again, that's done unbelievably well. Yeah, 18mm heel. So that felt horrible. You get 132 yards of carry. I mean, again, it's a 20-yard drop-off-ish for a super heel strike, which is basically the same as what we were seeing with the others. I think things like this is why forgiveness is just such a grey area. Like, is it all just marketing? Again, low heel. This has almost been the most impressive one out of the heel. That's done great. Probably wasn't mega heely. Yeah, like 13mm heel, 14mm low, bit low neck. Was not a good strike at all. Again, 137 carry down the line. Actually a pretty good ball fly. I mean, as far as non-forgiving clubs go, this is mega forgiving. So you've seen the good ones. Was that closer than you thought? And more importantly, you've seen the bad ones. Now, was that closer than you thought? As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. My summary: is forgiveness all marketing? Mostly. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.